Hello and welcome to a very special interview with a dear friend of mine, Colonel Arvinder Singh, Chief Executive Officer of the Gujarat Titans. Once again, a stellar season. Unless something dramatic happens, it's a top two finish, and yet again, the playoffs. Except in 2024, every single year, winning the title, runner up, making the playoffs. I have to put on record this is unbelievable consistency from the franchise. Colonel Arvinder, कुछ तो आप लोग कर रहे हो. You're doing something right which explains this unbelievable track record. What is it? Firstly, congratulations. Thanks for joining me. What are you doing differently?
Firstly, thank you so much, Boria. Always a pleasure catching up with you, at any time. Yes, of course, all I will say is that there's nothing extraordinary that we do when it comes to the preparation. We are very clear, our team, our coaching staff, our captain, each member of the franchise is very clear what the objectives are, and we plan as to how to achieve those objectives year on year. Coming to specifically to the cricket part, I can tell you that it's a common intent and objective that the entire each and every player, including the ones who never get a chance to play, be part of the 11 or the 12. It's a comprehensive, cumulative effort of each member of the coaching staff, of the team, and anybody behind them from a management perspective that I think that is what, and the belief that we have in our own system and processes that, by God's grace, we are able to achieve what we have achieved thus far, and there's more to come.
It did not start very well this particular season, but then that amazing turnaround and string of wins. Can you tell me a little, because you have watched Shubman Gill very, very closely. You were instrumental when I remember speaking to you. Kane Williamson was an option when Hardik moved. You all invested in Shubman Gill. Look where he is. Can you tell me a little bit more? To turn it around, Shubman Gill and Ashish Nehra, that group of yours plus the other support staff, Parthiv, Vikram, everybody. Can you just tell me, but highlighting the role of the captain and coach? Clearly, they were doing something special.
So let me take you back a little bit to, back to 2022 when this franchise was formulated and this team came together. You remember that time when nobody gave us a chance, even in 2022. The process and the methodology that took us to the championship in the first year itself and to the finals the next year, and the subsequent achievements that we have achieved thus far. There was a clear-cut thought at every level as to how this is to be achieved. There are no guarantees in sport for sure, but we were clear that unless you go through that process, you certainly won't achieve anything. So that was the first thing, and everybody had to have a common purpose in mind and common methodology and the process in mind, which everyone follows. On and off the field, everyone follows that. You may be playing on the field, but there are a whole host of people who are behind you to ensure that all that you need to do in GT is focus on playing as far as the players go. You don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to look over your shoulder for anything else. You are there to play, and you will be given the best opportunity to play. You will be given the best environment to go and excel on the field. And after that, it's just a matter of going in and doing that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. 24, it didn't work for us for various reasons. That's fine. That's part of the. But the processes don't change. And that is what has carried us through. Again, Boria, it's very, very heartening, and we are very proud of the fact that the team goes out there year on year and does what it does. Coming to Shubman again, yes, you're right. When we spoke about it, and a lot of people were surprised at that point of time. One thing is very consistent in Gujarat Titans, and I can tell you that we don't look at things short term. We don't look at anything, both on and off the field. Somebody who wears this logo on his chest has to be very clear of what GT stands for and how GT functions. And that is something, even Shubman has been part of creating that process and that environment and the leadership that he brings to the table. From 24 itself, when he took on this mantle, we were pretty sure that, he's our man. And I can reiterate that, I don't even need to do that now that the whole world knows that what he's achieved over the last couple of years and this season too. Uh, I think we are all fortunate in GT. We are very fortunate that he's with us, and as Indians, of course, we are very fortunate that you have somebody with a sound head on his shoulders and a game that matches that to lead India to greater glory in the years to come. So Shubman has been, I've always said it, and we have spoken about it. He's got a great head on his shoulders. He's very balanced in his outlook. He doesn't get perturbed, with whatever happens around him. And as a franchise, honestly, and you know it, and we've spoken about it, we don't worry about the noises that happen outside of our ecosystem. We're not too concerned about that. So if you take all this into account, it boils down to how GT functions, how GT gives the responsibility, and how people are taking responsibility for whatever their roles are in GT.
You have seen his journey as leader. Can you give me a little bit of that? How you have seen the guy from the inception of the franchise to now?
Oh, yes. The good part was even from 2022 onwards, he was always part of the leadership group. When I talk about the leadership group, I'm talking of, every team has that core group of the captain and the senior players and such like players who become like the think tank along with the coaching staff. Shubman was always part of that. And obviously, he was picked up by GT because everybody saw the potential that at that point of time, and which is now he's matured into somebody who's, oh, you can make out the difference. If you look at it from 2024, when he started off as a captain of GT, and then thereafter, as captain of India, and now this year again as since one works closely with him through the season, so you can see the kind of maturity that has come into his captaincy, the kind of control that he exercises on the field, the kind of the best that he can get out of the players. He's a thinking cricketer. He's a thinking cricketer, and the best part is, I mean, honestly, if you look at it, he could have easily scored 3 or 4 centuries this year. If you really ask me about the way he's batting, but he keeps the team in front of his own personal achievements, and you can see it on the field. It's not about how many runs or he's scoring or not. Look at the impact that he's making this year, both as a captain, as a player, as a leader, as somebody who carries his team together, as the respect that everybody has for him on and off the field is for everybody to see. And I think that are signs that are not going to hold only in GT in good state, but the Indian team also as we go along. So there has been, sometimes I wonder. At the end of the day, he's just 26 years old, and he in the last 2 years when he was given this responsibility, the way he has, taken onto it, and the way he's now performing on the field as a captain. I mean, it's wonderful to see. As an Indian, I think can't ask for anything more. Of course, as GT, of course, it's even more. But the fact remains that we should be proud of the fact that we have somebody, I'm sure all the questions have been answered. And there are no two thoughts about his abilities, both as a player as well as a captain. And having been part of the journey of seeing him evolve, into what he is currently, I think he's going to improve further on this. And like I said, it's good for all of us.
Ashish, again, somebody who has been instrumental because in the past, with other franchises, maybe did not get the success, but with Gujarat Titans, he has become, a pillar of success. Clearly, again, maybe the freedom, maybe something. Can you tell me a little bit more about Ashish?
Look, Ashish, uh, he- as the head coach of the franchise from year one, if somebody would have told you that this is what you will achieve in your first 5 seasons, I mean, nobody would have given this to us. But the fact remains that the way he's carried the team along, the way he's carried the players along, the way the kind of effort that he himself puts in, and hence his entire coaching staff puts in, the support staff puts in. I can tell you, if you're supposed to be practicing for 3 hours, I can tell you that Ashish ensures that we practice for the team practices for minimum of 5 to 6 hours. The kind of involvement that he has, again, it's not something, he's not one of those coaches who is involved with the players only during practice or only during matches and all. He is somebody who keeps the whole flock together, even off the field, even in the hotel while traveling. He makes it a point to interact with people. He makes it a point to make people comfortable, feel comfortable as part of the franchise and give them that confidence. And again, another point that you and I have spoken about earlier is the fact that, you know, his focus is not just on the ones that who are going to be playing. There are players who know that they may not get a chance, to be part of the playing 11 or 12. It's those guys, not only those boys. It's also the net bowlers, the sidearm throwers. The way he takes care of people, the way he's involved, with people. He has been instrumental, a very big part of how this whole environment that people talk about GT is created. So he has had a huge role to play in the success of the team, and nobody can take that away from him. And together with Shubman and the others and the rest of the coaching staff, they make a very formidable team. So the results are for everybody to see.
Your bowling perhaps is the most rounded. When I see Siraj, by the way, you know the friendship. He's one of my all-time favorites, very close friend of mine. Great to see him successful, by the way. Siraj, Kagiso, Rashid, all of a sudden, I mean, the bowling attack has a lot of flair, has a lot of rounded, holistic nature about it. Tremendously good bowling attack. Thoughts on that? Because that kind of gives you that added edge, I think helped in the transformation.
I love talking about these guys. I love talking about these guys. The names that you have taken. I think, it's not just about what they are performing on the field. I mean, Siraj so well. It's such a pleasure just interacting with him off the field. He's such a grounded person. He's such a grounded person. So also Kagi. So I mean, these guys are good people. Boria, we spoke about it when we started off in 2022 that how do we like to get players into what kind of players we have decided who will be part of GT. I think the kind of players were there. We're pretty clear who form part of the team. Who are not, what, I don't want to talk about anything beyond that, but the fact remains that somebody who first feels part of the team and feels comfortable being part of GT. Mohammed Siraj he's a live wire on the field. You know it. He'll give his 110% on the field. He'll put everything on the line, no doubt about it. More than that is what he brings to the team, even off the field. He is such a fantastic person, and I don't want to sound as if it's a admiration club here, but it is actually a pleasure to interact with there are small things that they do, the way they conduct themselves, as when they're part of the group, when they're otherwise you meet them separately, alone sometimes. It's these guys are amazing. These guys are each one of them. Prasid, again, what a fine human being there. He's such a fantastic guy. He doesn't let ups and downs affect him unnecessarily. Everybody knows you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. You're a sportsman. It's bound to happen. But collectively, when you see them hunting as a pack, it's just amazing to see. And I think couple that with the fact that you follow cricket and you cover cricket, so much of cricket, all forms of cricket. What Shubman has done by making Siraj and Kagiso bowl 3 overs up front in the power play itself, I think that shows the mindset not just of Shubman but the entire team as well. Now look at it from Siraj's perspective or Kagiso's perspective. He knows I have minimum 3 overs to go out there and just put in my best. It's okay if I go for runs and don't get wickets, but I am going for wickets. That is my role, and I'm not just being given an over and said that okay, fine, try and get me a wicket. No, that's not the thought process. So there is clarity of thought. It cannot be one way that Shubman thinks one way and the bowlers think another way. So it's a collective call that is taken, and then they just go out there and win the games for us. Yes, I agree. It's a fantastic bowling attack. They've been with us for a couple of seasons now, and will continue to do what they're best at even in the future.
Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Boya. Always a pleasure, and thanks for the kind words. God's been kind.
Thank you.
Thank you.